When I read those notes and I think about your program yesterday and everything that we've been hearing, I hope he realized in his lifetime, Jeff, how much he was admired and appreciated and loved, because the tributes to Bob Cole have been so beautiful.
I got to tell you, that's a great point, Heather. And you know what? I really don't know in some ways that he did. I mean, I think he knew how much he was, loved by his family and his colleagues. But I think when we talk about Bob Cole, we need to separate the broadcaster from the man. I mean, the broadcaster was the greatest of all time. He was the voice of, how many different generations of hockey, going back to when he started in CBC Radio in 1969. But Bob, every time that I was with him, and people would come up and ask for autographs and pictures, and he was always very gracious. But he would always kind of say, "Why do you want to talk to me? They're the players, they're the game. All I do is say he shoots, he scores." Bob was very humble. He didn't know, I don't think he understood how much of an impact he had on people. But, I mean, you see the tributes pouring in. I mean, John Cooper, Tampa Bay coach last night, right away in his press conference talked about him. He was completely adored from coast to coast to coast.
It was really remarkable. People talked about how he just had the feel and flow, and how things like "Oh Baby," like they were just spontaneous. They just came out. He didn't have any scripting, and he wanted that he was in the moment of the game. So that was the broadcaster side, and you spoke to so many broadcasters, Ron and Dick, and so many people yesterday.
Yeah.
But the man, in your own social media post, you referenced 38 million hearts breaking all at once at word of his passing. Now, why was that? Why do you think he came to mean so much to so many?
He was a very comfortable voice. I mean, you could tell, like I've always said this, Heather, you could tell when Bob Cole was calling a game. If you were in the kitchen making dinner, doing something for the kids, and the game was on in the living room, you could tell when you needed to be in front of the television, because no other broadcaster worked at so many different levels. And it was a really comfortable voice as well. The thing about Bob and the brilliance of Bob was the minimalism. He never let his words get in the way of the action, and he let the game breathe. He didn't get caught up in the minutia of stats and names and the back and forth and all the janitorial work about that goes into play-by-play. He, as Ron MacLean said, he didn't call the games as much as he sang the games. And that resonated with everybody. He was such a comfortable listen. He was so comfortable calling hockey games, and he made it easy for everybody. And look, like Bob was on, Bob was in our living rooms. Bob was in our dining rooms. Bob was, on our tablets and on our phones later on in life. Bob was in our bedrooms. Like Bob was everywhere that we went, restaurants, bars, all of it. Bob was always there. He always seemed like whatever we were walking in hockey, internationally as well, Olympics, wherever we went, there was the voice of Bob Cole.
72.
It was comfortable.